morning, good afternoon, everybody. Really thrilled to introduce our speaker today, Jeffrey Bates, Creative Director here at Media Valley. Jeff brings years of experience helping organizations kind of strengthen their brand presence. And today he's going to walk us through the steps of discovery, voice, design, and delivery, giving you the tools to rebrand quickly, effectively, and with confidence. I do believe there will be a handout that we're going to send out after this session too, with kind of some more instructions and some information. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder, any questions about the session today that you have with Jeff about branding, about rebranding, fire them into the fire them into the chat section or fire them into the Q&A section, and then we'll have a bit of time with Jeff at the end. But yeah, over to you, Jeff.
Thanks so much, Ian. I'm excited to share this slide deck and just start. There's 73 slides in here, so there's a lot to cover, and so going to kind of jump around. So let's begin. Okay, so the purpose of this slide deck presentation is just to show that there's a framework you can follow when you're doing a rebrand. And I have set this up from just a lot of experience that there's some steps you can follow and you can do just enough research, just enough to make informed decisions and then move on with the brand. And so I'm originally was putting this together mainly for in-house designers, but it's also for brand managers, agencies, anyone who kind of needs to follow. Is it time for a rebrand? How do I manage the brand better? So a little bit about my background. I have been doing design work for a long time. I started in agencies. I worked in magazines in New York City. I used to rock climb, moved to Colorado. This work is the first in-house design job that I had in it. For me, it kind of changed my love for graphic design. We own the brand, we controlled it, we lived the brand. And so I worked at Black Diamond. They make climbing gear and skis. And so it was fantastic. From there, I moved to a company called Freeform. And Freeform manufactures a product that they sell to architects and interior designers. And it is really expensive, but it's beautiful product. And the brand going from Black Diamond, which was gritty, it was a little bit outdoors, to Freeform, which is design aesthetic. The brand was aesthetic. That was the number one thing. Everything had to be beautiful. And these are some installations. It's used in really high profile areas. So it needed to be, it's a premium product and the brand needed to reflect that. I got to do a lot of photo shoots. This is just kind of behind the scenes set. And then packaging. And so I'll talk later in the presentation about color and how that can affect brand. From there, I moved to Vancouver. So I'm based in Vancouver now. I started work in tech companies. It's very different in tech. Everything is a little bit faster. Aesthetics aren't quite as important, obviously not as important as Freeform. So I had to learn to work fast, but you still need to be able to leverage design to help the company stand out against a really competitive marketplace. So again, in-house design, you get to do a lot of stuff from big events where there's, you're producing swag and lots of fun stuff. So from Clio, I'm at Media Valley right now. And this is great because it's 2 years ago this week, we launched our rebrand. And so since then, the trajectory of Media Valley has just really taken off. So it's been great. You'll see some more of the rebranding. Okay, so I'm going to get started on the framework. Why does it matter? And I talked about it a little bit at the start, but basically you want to control the narrative, and you want, when people are interacting with your brand, a planned response that is designed by you. You can really change brand the audience's perception of what the brand is. And so to get to that point where you're controlling the narrative, you can do some steps that lead up to it. And I'm going to take you through these steps, all of them. And the whole point of this is you need to get just enough research to make informed decisions. And oftentimes when people are talking about a rebrand, they're like, oh, 6 months, a year. Like, how do you do it when I have day-to-day work that I have to do? And there's a lot. We're cranking out work. And so how do you do a rebrand off the side of your desk? And so a series of exercises that don't take much time. You can include other people in the team. Some of them are really fun, but they're all leading up to like a body of information that gives you enough data to make good informed decisions about whether to even do a rebrand. Is it needed? So here's my framework: 4 steps: discovery, and that's just mining the past, like where are we right now? And then voice, you need voice and tone in the brand. And then design, I always think voice comes a little bit before design. You can't finish the design without having kind of the story behind it. And then delivery, it's how you distribute it. Okay, let's get into it. So this is probably the most fun one that I have, is doing a brand audit. And brand audit, I love to do like a top down of the brand. And sometimes I'll start at a new place and I'll come in and I'll just be like, oh man, everything is not good. This is all, let's just get rid of it all. But you really have to step back, take a 10,000-foot view of the brand, how it exists right now, and then be able to make decisions about what do we keep, what do we throw out, what's horrible. Hey, let's build off of this. So this is the foundation of the brand. So I'm talking a lot about rebrand, so not brand new, but a lot of this works for in brand inception as well. So we did this a couple of years ago before our rebrand, got everything on one board. We use Figma, look at it together. Hey, we're using a lot of this blue. Maybe we can introduce some new colors. So you start making decisions and start observing things and patterns and trends from doing an audit like this. That's the design part. Now you do the messaging part. What do we say about the company? How do we talk about it? How do we talk about it? An elevator pitch. What do the sales team, what does the sales team say to their customers and prospects? Are they telling a different story that the marketing team is telling? So you kind of capture all that in one place and try to find, okay, this is our key messaging. This is working. This is not working. Same thing as looking at the design. From there, competitor analysis. And you want to own a design. You want to own a like brand aesthetic in your space. So you take a look at your competitors and see what they're doing. And this is competitors Media Valet, and looking at them. Hey, one brand uses orange. Wow, there's a lot of purple in this brand. This brand's not good at all. So don't do what they're doing. So we look at them, and then you want to be able to carve out your own space. And you do that through color, imagery, messaging. So from there, you can do a quick SWOT analysis. And again, I'm saying quick because all of these things should be quick. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You're just gathering information. Here, you want to talk to the leadership team, and they need to know this. Like, what are our strengths? What do we do well? What are some of the weakness? And this is really from a business thing. Are there some external threats that have potential to derail the whole company? So you can kind of get an overview. Okay, this is what we do well. So from there, you want to leverage what our strengths are. Weaknesses, you might want to cover them up. You want to elevate some things that have been identified as weaknesses. Then same thing, we're continuing with the research. So brand perception surveys, I love doing these, and these are really good. do one for an internal audience and external audience. They don't have to be very involved. They can be 10 questions. You send out a survey and then you start getting great responses. So again, I'm laying the foundation. It's baseline. Here's what people think about the brand. Here's what we're doing well. So the questions are not leading. You want them to be pretty simple questions, but then you can leave space for comments. Hey, this is what I actually think about the brand. And this is where great things come out. Hey, we're the little guys doing big things. And so, okay, they feel like they're underdogs. And so we want to go hard with this level of competition. And then working with the sales team, customer profiles, like who are we selling to? And this is funny because as a designer, like I just want to do beautiful work. And like, am I designing for designers? Sometimes, but I'm really designing for the audience. And so I need to know the audience. Hey, they're Midwestern moms versus, people who live in New York City. And so know your audience, work with the sales team. Hopefully they've developed like profiles on their customers, ICPs. And from there, you've finished the foundation. Okay, moving on, voice and tone. So design, I think sometimes there's a gulf between content and design, and they really need to work hand in hand. I don't ever really want to start design without some messaging. And I think you have to treat it equally. And I work as a graphic designer. I do some copywriting, but I'm reliant on people on the marketing team, the content team to do writing. And so this is where I'll bring in them and we can do some exercises together. And all of this, again, I'm just trying to get the background. I'm trying to get the information and then we can build off of that. So I love this Simon Sinek thing, and it's a really great place. Start with why, and this is a fun exercise to do with a team. And his idea is most people know like what they do. Hey, we make shoes. How we do it, I don't know, we design a product, but like why is Nike making shoes? And it's more about the athletes. And so once you start learning that, then it helps again tell the story. I'm going to show a couple more exercises to do. I typically keep the instructions a little bit vague. I don't want to lead people on because I really want them to come up with their own interpretation, what a lot of these things mean. And this brand personality slider, I love doing this because you need to figure out what the team, what do we really think of the brand? And sometimes it's really wild. So there's a great slider, and on one side you have one aesthetic, on the other side you have a company that with a totally different aesthetic, and you put a dot on it. Where do you fit? And so everyone does these individually. You kind of pick your spot and then you get together as a team and okay, where do you feel we fit? And there's some great conversation that comes out of this because you're trying to find consensus. And this is unfortunately sometimes where we are, and this is where we want to be. And so you can now start thinking about, okay, our design is really stale. We want to be more like this. And so you're beginning to start to see some of the decisions you can now make about the brand. Yeah, we're happy where we are. We want to be thought of like mature, classic, and that is an aesthetic decision that can be made. So now you're starting to get into a little bit more of the content piece, brand values. And this is a great exercise. It's a lot of these, you bring 3 or 4 people from other teams in. I think it's great. you just write words about the brand. You start thinking about the brand, write down as many words as you can come up with to describe. Then you have someone curating the list, yes or no. You ask the team, does this word relate to the brand? Yes, no. So now you have two different categories. From there, you can kind of break it down into themes. A lot of the design work I do involve themes. I love to come up with themes for a trade show, for events, the themes to kind of encapsulate everything. And so you start combining the words into themes, and now you have language to describe your brand. This is a great exercise design inception worksheet. And a designer who worked for me brought this as a student. They had done it, and they had done it for websites. And I thought, came from Red Academy, and I thought this would really work great for brand. So you have these categories. You have the why, but then you have mood and visual language. And mood is intentionally, to me, vague. Like, what is the mood when you're talking about the brand? Then you have four categories: space, color, movement, shape. And what, if you think about your brand and movement, what words come to mind? Is it flowing? Is it solid? Is it stationary? Is it? So again, you let the team work on these, and then you get together and you come up with a list of things. And now, between this and the other exercise of brand values, you have language to describe the brand, and it's really good. So you did the groundwork. Now you can get into tone of voice. And tone of voice is where you kind of put it all together. How do we talk about the brand? And I had said, this is a little bit outside of my expertise, so I'm reliant on some content people to kind of work through this. And yeah, the messaging, the brand is, you come up with the examples. Hey, we are friendly, we are witty, we're funny. It's very serious. When we talk about the company, we might be one way, but when we talk about the product that we make, we might be a little bit different. Okay, I'm taking one breath here. I think we're halfway through. Okay, so this is great because, this one action, create a brand style guide. So I've done all this work. So now I need to put it together. Am I going to do an actual rebrand, or just kind of clean up the brand? So brand guidelines, and we have a great tool I'm going to share in a minute here, but brand guidelines are, I don't know, sometimes it's the bane of my existence. You're working, how do you put together brand guidelines? I'm constantly changing it. It's working, but you really need this foundational, hey, we can base everything off of this. So putting together brand guidelines are incredibly helpful, particularly as an organization grows. You have offices in other countries, outside vendors you're dealing with. People need to know the brand that you've put together, and you want to go out to the world. And once you have the brand guidelines together, then everything is a little bit faster. You can produce work quicker because you've done all the work, and you can make decisions. In the past, we used to do these traditional brand guidelines, PDFs, and put together. And this is where I say, okay, it gets a little bit tedious. This sometimes becomes kind of an exercise for designers, and just, hey, this is what we learned as students, and we're putting together these brand guidelines. But people aren't really going to refer to them. It's not very practical. So this is, 10 years ago, like an old PDF of how we used to do brand guidelines. So now there's a lot of opportunity to do it online, and Media Valet has this experience portals, which is incredibly helpful because there's a bunch of templates, and that application is literally drag and drop. And so you can build this microsite on your brand in basically an afternoon. You can just pull everything into one place. Within the app, there's a bunch of pre-made templates that kind of just, you can take it or leave it, but you can use them to fill in things really quickly when you're thinking about building brand guidelines. It's really like, what am I going to include? Like, yeah, the logo, but what else do I want to include messaging? And so having a tool like this is really helpful. And then once it's live, then you share it with the world, and everyone in the company has access to it. You can distribute things through it. And then this portal is great because there's going to be login permissions. You can kind of control what people are seeing. And so sharing with vendors, sharing with people telling better stories is great. Okay, so last thing is the delivery. So you've done all this work, and basically I wrote step one is design a bunch of cool stuff. And yeah, that's what I'm really trying to do. Cool stuff that I'm proud of, but things that really resonate with customers. Designers and content people, we can really change perception. And I like working at Media Valet because there's been an opportunity for us to push the brand, and then we can see the results. So we feel that we're a big part of Media Valet's success. So I'm going to show some work. So yeah, some things off the rebrand. And once you have the brand guidelines done, then you can kind of start pushing the brand a little bit. Hey, is this on brand? Is this off brand? And you can refer back to the guidelines. Hey, this is chance for us to go bold. This is a trade show. We want to do something different. These are ads. We want them to be colorful. And then you keep going. You test. This is from pre-brand up pre-rebrand for Media Valet, but we had a bunch of ads that went out, and we started testing, hey, are these performing? So before we did the rebrand, we had a lot of experiments, and I almost thought, okay, maybe we're doing too much experimentation. So we needed to solidify with a rebrand. And then the tools that you use, and this is great. And this was, Media Valet, we're really fortunate, or I'm fortunate to be doing the work I'm doing with a digital asset management tool. So we basically have all our assets in the DAM. You can search them, you can find, it's really simple. And then we have partnered with Mark as an integration into our product. And Mark is pretty amazing because you can do templating and you can share it with the team. And so people can go in and start producing assets that are on brand because you built the original template, and they can just crank them out, share it, approve it, and you have a lot of control over how people are distributing your brand. And then I talked about experience portals, which is another fantastic. So I think when you're managing your brand, you kind of need three things. I love having a DAM. I love to be able to share things through templating and experience portals. Okay, so I'm going to get back to showing some work and talk about some real world examples, because I've alluded to, you don't always have to do full blown rebrand. Maybe you could just tweak the logo. Maybe you just solidify some decisions. Hey, these are our official colors. This is what our logo looks like. So some places I've worked at in the past, Interstyle, they make glass tile, and the glass tile, if you look at glass from the side, it kind of has a greenish color. They used to make terracotta ceramic tile. So they had this old logo, and this is where, when I started, I was like, whoa, everything is dated. Like, it just looks bad. We totally need to redesign it. But okay, take a look at it. Is it not a just full blown redesign, or can we just refine it? Can we just bring it up to the modern world? And the funny thing, I was looking at that eye, and when I first saw it, I hated the eye in the box that was supposed to represent like mosaic tile. But then just by moving it to the other side, I realized, oh, okay, it was right there all along. So we can leverage the old brand in a fresh way. Sometimes it's just simple change. Clio had just redesigned the logo when I started, and it was a problem because small, it was just out of whack proportion wise. And so just like simple changes, hey, I'm going to just make the icon smaller, redesign it slightly, and now it works. Sometimes it's technical issues. Hey, there's gradients in the logo and there's something weird about it. We need a little bit more seriousness. But then from there, some things happen. Okay, there is a hexagon in the logo. Maybe that can be part of the brand. So from this logo design, then we started doing the hexagon. On the left, I want to show, again, rebranding. I started, this is the type of graphics they had on the left, trying to explain what their platform is. Now we have the new brand, start using hexagons throughout, and it can kind of permeate throughout the brand, like this hexagon motif. So this is a trade show, and their booth was actually in a hexagon shape. And then, yeah, again, just continue. And this is where like brand assets and having some themes, I think are really important. It makes it easier, makes decision making. Sometimes you can have fun with the brand. So three form, this is their logo, chopped off three. And then we purchased a company that made lights, and there's a three and now it's a G. Haha. So back to color. When I started at Freeform, this is an architect's library, and it's material samples, and it's a lot of like 4x4 of wood, tile, fabrics, who knows what is in these things, but you can see they're really messy. So this is the Freeform kit that's highlighted, and it was light gray. And so I visited a bunch of architects' library, and again, doing just enough research. Hey, maybe we can change the color of our box and we can kind of carve out a space. So I redesigned the kit, and it's this modular drawer system, and its color, it's this bright orange. And when you look, and it's funny, before the presentation, I was like, oh, I should just grab some images. So I literally did a Google search, architects' libraries, and I was like, hey, look at the three form. There's three form. And even this like small, I see just this tiny little three. I was like, okay, now we've carved out our own space in this architect's library where people walk in and they know and they can find the product right away. So again, sometimes this was an old Media Valet logo, and sometimes it's just like a refresh. Hey, if we change the color, I didn't like this blue. It was kind of ubiquitous tech blue, and it would just look dusty to me. And so maybe we can keep the same brand, but just change the color. And having all lowercase, two words, wasn't working. And so uppercase M, uppercase V, it reads better. So I showed this, and this is 10 minutes of work. And then the team was like, well, maybe we do a full blown rebrand. And so this kind of started this whole process. And so it was fun. We're doing our day-to-day work, but we're also rebranding off the side of our desk. And we went through all the steps to get there. And then, here's the new logo, the before and after. And I like to always try to impart some, I don't know, emotion or meaning. And the M and the V icon, it's an upload arrow, it's a download arrow. There's kind of a heart in there. So there's a lot of things, AI, there's different interpretations. So from there, you can start extending the brand. Hey, let's build some secondary logos off the brand. Let's, solidify our color palette. Let's open it up to some brighter colors. And then, oh, that's my timer. And then, once you know the brand intuitively, you can have fun with it. You can start making decisions. Hey, is this on brand? Is this not? Hey, can we do a script media valet for the company? So we built this little Shopify store with fun branding stuff. And that's the end of the presentation. Thanks so much. Ian?
Great stuff, Jeff. Really interesting session about rebranding. Yeah, I guess getting down to the nitty gritty, we have a couple of questions in the chat here and a couple in the Q&A section. So, folks, please feel free to ask any other questions. One popped in, Jeff. Have you ever worked with a branding agency in the past, and kind of any benefits you found from using those?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of in-house design, but I love working with agencies. They have process. It's a little bit time. It takes time to work with agencies. And then there is a little bit of education that you have to, they need to be brought up to speed. But it's nice having kind of an outside voice looking at brand. Agencies have great processes. But sometimes it's difficult to work because you're just trying to crank things out. Everything's under fast deadline. But yeah, whenever I get the opportunity to work with an agency, I can jump at it because a lot of good work comes out of that.
Sweet. Let me just see here in the Q&A section. Okay, we have another one. This one seems to be about, okay, so have you ever been in a situation where an acquisition, one company has acquired another, and there is a merging of brands? Has that been a situation you've ever been involved in before?
Yeah, I mean, for designer, when you're on the acquiring side of a company, it's really fun because you are bringing this new brand in, and it's fun to start learning, kind of go through the process of understanding the brand, and then you get to make decisions. Hey, is it a standalone brand? Do we keep it, or do we from there, do we kind of weave it into the existing brand, and what do we leverage? What do we discount? So again, you go through the same process, and it's fun. It's fun as in-house design because now you're working on something a little bit different.
Sweet. Just checking there now. Got another one just popped in. How do you handle? I don't know. Is a real question or not, but how do you handle scope creep? I'm not sure if that's a real term.
Oh yeah,
Okay, it is. Okay.
that's a real term, man. That's a yeah. So again, I try to be pragmatic. Like I want to work on things as long as it takes to get a good result, but sometimes things are going to take longer, and you have to just like cut it off. I'm not going to allow this to go on. And so I think I'm trying to get 80% of the way there and then launch. And this is in the tech industry, you really want to launch and iterate. And so if you're working on digital things, it's a little bit easier. So yeah, addressing scope creep, like I try to get as far as I can within reason.
Excellent. I think that covers it for questions, Jeff. So yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, folks. Again, thanks so much for joining us. And Jeff, thanks so much for a great session. Your insights were great. We will send out this slide deck to people. I'll probably get it out to everybody tomorrow. But yeah, thanks for joining us. And yeah, have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.